Good morning, planet Earth. Welcome back. Welcome to Who Am I? I am your host, Amelie Starchild. That is indeed my given name. No, it's not. Who am I? Who am I? What is this show? It's Stream of Consciousness. We are going to be riffing about the nature of reality and the position that we might find ourselves in as human beings on planet Earth here in the early part of the 21st century. Well, actually, we're coming up to the end of the first quarter. We still have 3 quarters left to this century, but... So what's the point of the show? It is my belief, it is my sincere belief, that many of the more challenging problems that humanity faces on planet Earth are being caused simply by him not understanding the nature of reality and the nature of himself. And that if we understood both of those just a little bit better, we would get along on planet Earth a lot better than we do. And so it is my prayer, it is my desire, it is my intention that my work help us to raise our level of consciousness so that we can do better here as we handle all of our problems, desires, intentions, the projects that we put forth on planet Earth. The projects, large and small. The projects being everything from, honey, let's build our dream house. Let's design it. Let's source all the materials ourselves. Let's thoughtfully and lovingly decide where we want to nestle this beautiful thing, and then let's build it. And won't that be fun? And won't it be amazing when it's done? Maybe that's what we want to do. Or, honey, let's build a business. Why is it honey this and honey that? Well, I just noticed that. It's always more fun. Besides that, none of us can do any of these things alone. So whether it's honey, let's build a business, or you call up your contractor and you say, honey, the thing is human beings have intentions. We have to, you know what, this is Stream of Consciousness, but it is very early in the morning. It's always early in the morning. And why do I do it early in the morning? Because later, my real life starts looming a little larger. It's harder for me to find my way to just speaking the thoughts gently that waft into my head. The discussion is on the nature of reality itself. And therefore, we're going to talk about the nature of yourself, who you are, how you're designed, how you interface with the rest of the board, the grid, the field. How do you interface with it? How do the energies work? How do you get bigger what you like and smaller what you don't like, Get the terrible things to kind of loom a little smaller. And the big things the good things to loom a little larger. How do you get that to happen? How do you build the momentum of things that you like? And how do you get the momentum of things that you don't like to recede into the background? Well, it's all about focus and attention. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to cough. Well, the secret to the equation is to understand the laws of momentum and how momentum works. So, that which is going along keeps going along. That's sort of one of the laws of momentum. That's not exactly the truth. So, you are two selves. Remember that. You are two beings. And both of you are points of attraction. And, hold on one second. So both of the two selves that you are points of attraction. Now, one side of you, the source side of you, is relentless, all inclusive, continuing without interruption, momentum in the direction of expansion and light and love and joy and interconnected, harmonious togetherness. That's what your source side is. A continuum of never, ever, ever interrupted positivity and light, expansion and wholeness. That's what your source spin is. Now, your other side, that's the one you have control over. Your other side, your physical side, your now, I know most people don't spend a lot of time thinking about it this way, but you could, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it this way. I spend an hour to 2 hours every day, with or without you. I mean, I don't know who's listening right now. The big you that I'm talking to is actually the ear of the whole universe. And I know that she's listening, even if there's only, a smattering of human beings on any given day who happen to catch it. The great algorithm of the universe will sort all of this out, and whoever needs to hear this will hear it. And if it's just me needing to do it in order to get ready for the experience that's coming down the pike for me, even if it's just that, that's fine. That's fine. I was listening to somebody the other day who was doing a live stream, and there was one person in the room listening before I joined, and they weren't doing what I was doing though. They were putting on a presentation. They were talking. Actually, I don't remember. Were they talking about? It seemed canned right when I was listening to it, and there was video that was going along with it, and but they were doing a presentation about how to interact with the world in an optimal way, no matter what organizational intention you were trying to pull together, whether it was a business venture or whether it was, whatever it was that you were trying to do. If you kept in mind these principles of everybody being selfishly oriented, and not meaning that in any kind of everyone is selfish and greedy. I don't mean it like that. No, in a good way. I mean, just in a matter-of-fact way. Everyone has to be oriented from a direction of self. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that we do is we denigrate this self. How many people stand in front of Abraham trying to destroy their own ego? How to get away from their ego, how to not pay it, how to, destroy or sublimate or, I don't know. What are the words they use? Those aren't the words they use, but those are kind of the spirits they use. They think their ego is a bad thing, and so they're trying to, I don't know. But the self is, of course, the direction through which we see the world. You can't help but see the world through the lens of self. And so there's not really anything wrong with it. It's you. You have control over this aspect of you, this self aspect of you. The source aspect of you, you only have control over the interface between you and the allness, that it will always go through self, even as it's heading to the allness of your perception of. I'm going to get lost if I'm not careful. But the only thing you really have control over is your physical, personal self. All the rest of it is under the auspices of others. Every individual being at that, it's just interesting the way you can demark, the way you can divide how you're looking at the world differently, and the whole world looks different. When you start seeing yourself as a valuable, real, you are valuable because the great wholeness needs eyes and ears and senses on the ground, on the grid, actually experiencing it. Without you out there experiencing it, the whole experience is empty. So, you are two selves. These two selves are spinning discs, literally spinning discs. One is a spinning disc that includes the spin of the whole thing. The whole thing is spinning. It's like, imagine the whole universe as a spinning cup of coffee. And the physical universe that you are looking at, that you're experiencing, what we call matter, what we call reality, this rolling manifestation of physicality in front of us that equals all the rocks and the mountains and the water and the trees and each other, our atoms, all of that stuff. All of that, the stuff is like cream spinning in the coffee. But the whole thing is like the coffee, and it's all spinning. And we are spinning with it. And so we are all the common spin of all of, and there's so many different spins too. And you could think of each and every one of them as a morphogenetic field of data and information. All of those different spins, and they are spins of organization. And you yourself are a spin of organization. You are an organized, you are 50 trillion separate souls, each one of them autonomously self-oriented. Each one of them evaluating what is best for me. What do I like? What do I want? Where am I going? Each and every one of your cells is doing that. And all 50 trillion of them are organized into you. And you are a single organizational structure of intention. But you are comprised of 50 trillion autonomous souls. They really are autonomous. Every one of your cells could live outside of your body. They can take your cells and put them into an artificial medium that mimics the blood supply, that gives them the air and the water and the food and the ability to eliminate and procreate and all of that. Give them an artificial medium and they'll carry on just as though they're in your body. It's very interesting, actually. Who am I? Who am I, and at what level are we talking about this? Because at some point, the magical truth of the whole situation is that you actually are an integrated cell in the wholeness of a being that surrounds you utterly. That if you would learn how to have faith and cooperate and don't worry about the things that you're worried about. Even the ones that you should worry about, like the wars going on around you, or crazy ass exes, or, the fact that you don't have money to. You should do something about it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do something about it. I'm just saying that worry is not the one. Worry doesn't help. And worry puts you into the wrong frame of mind to actually positively affect the situation. You can negatively affect the situation from a position of worry. But you can't positively affect a situation from a position of worry. Now, it might appear that way. I worried, snatched my child from, whatever. And so there is an immediate value to the knee jerk of worry. But extended worry, thoughtful worry, evaluating over an extended period of time your position, your options, their position, who they are, trying to imagine all of these kinds of things from a position of worry. You're not going to be getting a clear picture, people. I'm sorry. You just aren't. So even though maybe your worry has given you something, okay, be wise. That's a scorpion fish. That's a rattlesnake. Watch it. But you don't have to spend a lot of time, a lot of bandwidth, a lot of your evaluation space in that place of despair or frantic panic. I know that's easy for me to say. What do we do about it? Get yourself into a safe situation, and from a safe situation, meditate upon your ultimate safety. I have somebody who is worried about things, and perhaps they have something to worry about, but we're going to work it out. And I am friends with this cannibal king. Now, I know that when someone is under the influence of their addictions, they are not themselves. And so you start dealing with someone who you're not dealing with the person. You're not dealing with their, but they are still in there, and you've got to. And then at some point you got to let go of worrying about. So ultimately there is a truth here that most of us don't live by. And when things get scary, we do not live by these. But the truth that Abraham tells us, and that sometimes I have trouble with, but ultimately, in the biggest frame, I believe she's correct. I understand that she's correct. But down here on the ground, it doesn't seem like she's correct. And what she says is, there's nothing serious going on here. Nothing serious going on here. Don't be so, when we croak, she tries to be as disrespectful, find as disrespectful a word as possible, so that you can understand that from this great vibrational wholeness perspective, the body didn't die. The body is bigger than the cell that you are. You are a cell in the body of the great being that still exists, and you are a part of this. It's not, it's just the big other than me. But what about me? What about me? What about me? What about me? Actually, I want to talk about me. I want to talk about. It's a Toby Keith song. What about me? Actually, it's want to talk about me. Most of the time, he loves talking about her, but once in a while, I want to talk about me. So the question is, what does happen to you? Well, you remain an autonomous. Actually, let's go back to where I was a little while ago. I was starting to talk about the laws of momentum. Let me see if I can stay on that today. And for a whole hour, let's see whether I can coherently talk about the laws of momentum. And I do believe that everything that I say is jiving with what I understand to be true about new physics, the new physics, and how everything is spinning, and the spin of space-time. And I believe the momentum of mass, mass building a momentum of, now it doesn't work exactly like this. There's a stasis and a kind, not a stasis, but a equilibrium kind of a place that matter. But as far as energy goes, the laws of momentum have to do with thoughts and feelings for sure. I was going to start talking about it in terms of physics. And I know that there absolutely is a relationship between law of attraction and unified physics. They don't disagree with each other. They agree with each other. They support each other. Esther talks about, or Abraham talks about, your vortex of creation and your two spinning discs of attraction that you are, one being your inner being, your source self, and the other one being you, the one that you have conscious control over. And when you can consciously, with your conscious control, align the frequencies of your individual self with the higher frequencies of your collective self, if you can line those two up, then you will find yourself in a position where you can flow with the greater flow, with maximum ease and non-resistance with you're flowing easily and painlessly with the rest of the group. Not just painlessly, you can start thinking of win-win situations that you could conjure. Don't look at reality and try to figure out how to mesh with what's actually there. Understand the laws of the universe and then look around at what you have to work with and come up with your own plans and schemes that you want to make happen, and start building momentum with your positive desires in alignment with the field around you. And as you do so, the little demons and Lokis and Shivas around you don't have the same power to touch you, especially when they're in essence actually small and mean and short-sighted themselves. If you get bigger than that, and I don't mean that in a address that exact situation and get bigger than that. I mean, just brush it away like the dandruff that it is. Where they really are is in a much I don't know. I'm trying to obliquely give somebody advice. The interesting part is this person will probably never listen to this show unless I purposefully ask them to do so. Oh, life. Life is an interesting thing. And how do I take every condition that comes at me, even the ones that don't look like so much fun? How do I end up interpreting them in a way that is not begrudging, that is not I do not like to feel bad. I I can't put up with it. It it's a frequency that those around me, some people around me are much better at it than I am. And you know what the interesting thing is part of you might want to say, well, I could get better at that. People could teach me how to be more appropriately negative to the world around me. But I believe, actually, I believe things like Bashar tells us things like, if you stay positive, then no matter what the condition that the world presents you with, you will be able to find a positive way through it. You will be able to find, glean a positive result. How does he put it? I'm not sure exactly what the exact quote would be. But the idea is if you stay positive, then the conditions around you don't matter in a way. You will be able to take a positive benefit from any condition, no matter how negative it looks on the outside. If you stay positive, you will glean a positive result from that condition, no matter what it is. Now, I don't like those words. There's something about, because gleaning positive result, I just don't like the sound of that. As though, but you get the idea? I hope you get the idea. I will find better words for that particular energy meaning. If you stay positive, negative conditions cannot negatively affect you. You can see their negativity. You can go, I can see what I'm looking at. I absolutely can see. And actually, what it turns out that you are looking at all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time, bar nothing. You're seeing it in others, and so the absolutely the answer is always, always, always. This could take a while. No. I'll get on with it. The answer is always to stay in alignment, because the answer that the problem, any problem that you're ever looking at out in the world, is always misalignment. And so, and that goes true for you too. If you are a chaotic influence to the world, if you are a source of chaos, or you are contributing to the chaos because chaos is you are observing chaos. You are observing great chaos outside in the world. You're observing great chaos. And in your observation of that absolute chaos, you're not making it up. That person is crazy. But if you are letting your observation of that person make you crazy, if you are losing your footing, your ground, your sense of who you are in the universe and what you are about, and not just seeing them as, oh, that is a large celestial object that is passing by too close to me for comfort. Perhaps I need to shift my orbit just a little bit because I'm focusing on this thing over here that I'm so excited about. Now, I know that it's not realistic to always, 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 always be in the positive, because truthfully, we have to experience the negative in order to understand our world fully. We do have to experience the negative emotions. The difference between experiencing your negative emotions and dwelling in your negative emotions are two different things. Now, you are allowed to not, you can experience only the negative emotions that you actually experience. But if you find yourself in a state of negative emotion, just know that in this moment I am not in touch with my source. I am not, I do not, I have lost the hand grip of the divine being that dwells inside of me. And I am now trying to solve my problems on the physical surface of this world. And I'm telling you right now, on the physical surface of this world, it's real dangerous and scary. And scary. You've got to get back in vibrational touch with the God within you, the divinity within you, the source within you, the vibration within you. And what is this vibration? It's a very high vibration. And what does this vibration feel? Well, this vibration feels completely and utterly safe in this world. And if you don't, then you are identifying with expirational aspects of yourself that are not safe, instead of fully identifying with your whole self, which is both your expirational self and your eternal, divine, vibrational self, who is in touch with all things, who knows that the true winning position is a win-win-win-win for many souls. So what kind of projects are you thinking of? Are you thinking of projects that are only taking care of your own little self because that's as far as you can see? And you think that you are nothing and you better think small because that's the only thing you could ever get done? Well, I think that a lot of the reason why some of us can't get things done is because we're thinking too small. Because when you think small, you don't have cooperative components. You don't have as many anyway. And when you think larger, when you think about projects that benefit not just me, but others too, and there would be lots of other moving parts in, lots of call for other specialties and other, if you can start to organize an intention around a project that is a win-win-win-win, and truly a win-win-win-win for many, many people, the organization of that project will start to, get going. What's the problem with all of this? Well, one of the problems is you got to understand reality. Fully understand reality. What you're actually looking at, what you're actually dealing with, how it actually works. Now you got to get in touch with yourself. Who am I? What do I want in this world? What projects would I like to launch? Do I want it to be something like, let's build a rumpus room in the garage out here. It's 900 square feet. Let's flesh it out and make it a family gathering place where we can come together as a tribe and laugh, and that's a possibility. We have the money. We could do that. You have to really get all of yourselves behind, whatever it is that you've decided. And I overthink everything. But the thing is that we sit around and we don't do anything. We save our money and make sure that it's going to last until we die. And we may live for another 40 years. And how much is that? And so we sit here and make do, because isn't that the virtuous thing to do? To sublimate your desires, because that's selfish to, no. That is not actually what we're looking at all. The fact is that divinely you are supposed to be following your desire. You're supposed to be getting clear about your desire. Get your wholeness all in favor of some desire, and then organize it. Start being it. Start spinning with it. Start pulling it together. Whether it's the desire to put together an entrepreneurial project, let's build this darling little tea shop in this lovely little spot, and let's sell X, Y, and Z. And let's decorate it in this way, and let's point at this demographic, or let's express this is who I am all over the walls, or all over the, maybe it's a nonprofit. Maybe it benefits small furry creatures, with big, warm, brown, liquid eyes that melt your soul. Maybe what you want to do is you want to beautify your neighborhood, or you want to make single mothers feel with abusive exes feel safe, or whatever it is. You engage with life in some way. And through the engagement of life, you recognize things going on that you don't like, and things that going on that you do like. You recognize what the whole palette of what you're looking at is. And right now we've got a very big palette, because you can go all the way out to the international, all the way out to who are we as a species, who are we as a pedagogical being moving through time, coming into recognition of who we are moving through time, and we are one being, and how the field works, how this data exchange to the large and the small, across all the scales, universe actually works. This holographic universe, how does it work? This spinning, holographic, incredibly energetic and dynamic universe, how does it work? And who am I in the middle of this? Consciousness, becoming conscious of consciousness, and who it is, and how the feedback, feed forward, learning loop of the universe, how it works. It's really, really cool. So let's go back and talk about momentum for a minute, because we were going to talk about how momentum works and how you get a positive momentum in something that you want, something that you are clearly. You have to be moving towards what you want, or the devil will get you. That's actually where desire and the devil, how that works. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. And idle hands are hands that are not actively engaged in actions, doing things that you want to do. Following your bliss. If you are not actively following your bliss, then you are the devil's playground. You are ripe for some kind of negative energy in the conditions out in front of us to come along and get your attention. And next thing you know, you are in a reactive world, having to deal with and counter the moves of other people who are swirling in the influence of chaotic energy forces. Does any of this make sense? Am I talking gobbledygook right out the backside of my head? Or the backside of my backside? I hope I am making sense. So how does this momentum thing work? So you don't not think about things you don't want to think about by not thinking about things that you don't want to think about. That's not how you do it. How you don't think about things that you don't want to think about is to actively think about things that you do want to think about. And get something going with that. And apparently, every 17 seconds or so, and it's undoubtedly less now, 16, maybe even 15 by now, could even be 14. I have not heard Abraham's latest estimation of how fast she thinks that the thoughts are joining. That which is like unto itself is drawn. The law of attraction absolutely applies to thinking. Your thinking, because you are two selves, and when you start thinking a thought along a frequency, and that frequency is either going to be low or high. Lower frequencies have to do with with negative energies. Fear, jealousy, guilt, shame. All of those are lower frequencies. And when you think in those ways, your frequency is not meshing very well with your greater self. So this is how it works. So you think a thought, whatever frequency it is, and every 15 or 16 seconds, the universe will hand you another very similar thought that joins with that one. It actually, they sidle alongside. They know each other. They're cousins to each other. They witnessed the same accident. They are angry about the same things. There is a synchronicity to the negative forces, to the chaos, chaos, to the chaos forces going on over there on that side. It's sort of like chaos and coherence are the two sides of organizational forces. Now, over there, your source side is absolute coherence. Everything blending and flowing together. But actually, both sides exist too. It's like one side is the electromagnetic fields, and then the other side is gravity and love and what's the gravity and love? Well, let's just say gravity and love. The water going in is gravity and love, and the air going out, spinning out, is the electromagnetic fields. It's the spin of this universe is the most important thing for anybody to understand, no matter what it is that you're trying to figure out. How to organize a bake sale, how to organize a softball team, how to organize a architectural building project, how to organize anything, how to understand the physical universe as you're looking out into the cosmos and scratching your head trying to understand how quasars work, or how what you're looking at when you're looking at a black hole at the center of a galaxy, and the galaxy itself, and the clusters and the superclusters and the planets, and then now you're down here on the planet and you're looking at the movement of biology and the life and death. We don't really understand all these things, not nearly as much as the layman thinks that their group self understands these things. When a baby is born and you're looking at it and you're like, oh my God, where did you come from? And then when a dear friend who's been with you your whole life winks out, and then now they're never, ever, ever going to be back in that form ever, ever, ever again, and you go, where did they go? We don't fully understand these things. Now, there's clues. This is a giant cryptogram full of zillions of clues, and the way you solve it is going to be unique to you. In any case, your desires, your observations, your clarity, your coherence is important to the equation. Very, very important to the equation. When you realize that you are a cell in a great being that is the universe, don't prostrate yourself before it. I mean, you can, and actually it is appropriate occasionally to do so. But don't just prostrate yourself before the Almighty and sacrifice yourself or anything else to this Almighty. The Almighty does not want you to sacrifice yourself. The Almighty wants you to be yourself. The Almighty wants you to include yourself in your schemes. Include yourself. Allow yourself to be one of the players in the win-win equation. And then try to play the game as win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win. He who plays the game to the winningest win-win point of the game is actually the winner. The one who plays the game at the pinnacle of the win-win position. Then every single being around them all of a sudden becomes a cooperative component to their ventures, a potential cooperative component to their ventures, if they are in alignment with themselves and the rest of the group. And the ones who are not, oh, what just happened? How interesting. The ones who are not cooperative components to your ventures are not because they are not in alignment with the whole. If you are in alignment with the whole and they are in alignment with the whole and everyone's in alignment with the whole, then guess what? All of us are moving harmoniously with one another. We've got that IBM, that better world that IBM, says, let's build a better world. We can do it together. The thing is we've got to learn how to be together without being lockstep and groupthink. We need to learn how to be together in our most diverse, authentically individual kind of way. Hold on 1 second. I don't know why my computer just did that screen to me. What is it trying to tell me? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. It put a tool. It just all of a sudden a toolbar appeared on the bottom part of my OBS screen from my outer computer, and I have no idea what it's trying to tell me. All right, I shouldn't be messing with this without pausing it, and I don't need to pause it. Who am I? Let's go back to the discussion of momentum, because I think that the discussion of momentum is an interesting one. The more you get the habit of thinking in positive ways, the more you can start getting a bead on maybe an aligned project in your mind that you could start building the momentum of, that you could go to and think about and work with. And as you get that positive momentum of that positive project going, then the power of the negative things that try to pull you from side to side will be less. But I think it's also important, you need to understand, you do need to understand the whole picture. Because say if your problem is a crazy ex that won't leave you alone, you thinking about your grand project that you're having such a good time thinking about might not be the whole answer, because the crazy ex could come along and spitefully, or if not spitefully, maybe obsessively in trying to possess you again, upset your apple cart. So I guess just thinking about other things isn't good enough, is it? Well, I do believe still that understanding ourselves and understanding the whole situation and pondering it regularly, so that you don't just believe it, you know it. There's one thing to believe that you are your vibrational self. It's one thing to believe that you are somehow this continuum, part of this continuum, this eternal continuum that will never wink out. It's one thing to believe it, and it's another thing to know it. And the more that I do this show, the more that I spend all this time in my own little echo chamber, yes, it's true, I am in my own echo chamber doing work on connecting my own internal neuron system every day as I do this Who Am I show. But I don't follow any of these threads to illogical places. And so even though it's my own neural network I am fleshing out, as I do this show, things that I once believed, now I know these things are true. You are an eternal being. Now, the nature of yourself in your eternity is a bit different than the way that you are in your physical body. You are a frequency. And it's like Bruce Lipton says, that, and he's a cellular biologist, and he can tell you that actually your frequency, you can see your frequency in these little nodules that are sticking out all over your individual cells, each one of your individual cells, and they are picking up a frequency from the outside environment that is quite unique. Everybody's cells are picking up a different, unique frequency. And you can tell by the little antenna things on the outside of the cells that are designed specifically to pick up your frequency. It's how come your body will reject the organs transplanted from other people, because you have identity structure within your cells that are allowing you to pick up specifically a specific frequency that is being broadcast in this universe. And you are that. You are that frequency. Now, hold on a second. I've got to go look at something. I just had to go make sure that the accordion door out there to the studio is closed, making sure that no one else in the house traipses down that hallway in back of me. It is still a little early and a bit dark out there, but it is starting to get light. Anyway, who am I? Who am I? And what does this momentum thing have to do with anything? Well, so know this. Your source self has a momentum in the positive already going. And this momentum in the positive that she's got going includes everything else in the field around you. All the other beings moving around and their desires and their needs and their nature, what would be optimal. Each one of the little parts does not know what would be optimal, but the whole knows what would be optimal. But each individual part, actually, if they would lock into source and then move in to the appropriate impulses being given to them by source, they would harmonize beautifully and fully with the field around them in a win-win position. So anyway, this guy I was watching, who was doing a live stream, he was basically talking about, how to work your whatever it is that you're doing. I thought it was great because he'd never used the word win-win, but it's the same concept I talk about, which is you are bigger than you think you are. And the you that you want to succeed is bigger than just the little you that inhabits your little body. The you that wants to work a billion-dollar corporation wants to do that because it's fun. if you would do it for the benefit of every cell in the corporation and get all excited about that, do it for the satisfaction of how fun it would be to have you and every employee that works for you, becoming fabulously abundant at the end of your venture, whatever the hell it is that you've got this idea of. That's the kind of ideas that humanity needs. And if enough of us would come up with a few ideas that is a win-win for us all, then all of us will win. We live on a planet abundant enough that, most of us can thrive and succeed to a point. I mean, none of us need to live forever because we are a great being. And each one of us is dancing in and out of this great being that we are. And there's no need to preserve the individual forever and ever and ever, because the individual preserves forever and ever anyway. You don't have to worry about the seat that you are to the parade of life is permanent. You are a front row seat to the parade of life for all eternity. That's never, ever, ever going away. And that's all that matters. You're going to pop in and out of all kinds of different forms. You're going to recognize how you are the whole thing operating from your individual point. And, the rest of the vehicle allows you to drive with it as long as you're driving with it and not against it. It's sort of like we're driving like those driver's ed vehicles, only everybody has their hands on a wheel. And everybody can drive as long, and the object of the exercise is for us all to kind of get in flow with the same. I don't know. I'm reaching for it now. That's a brand new analogy for me. I'm coming up on, I just passed 57 minutes, so I'm getting close to an hour. I'll probably go an hour and 10 minutes maybe today. I don't know. We have exciting things happening at the house. We have a split units, whatever those things are called. Mini split? Yeah. Going to get put up in the upstairs bedroom today, as well as some upgrades to the electrical system. Probably means my electrical is going to go down at some point. So I should download a bunch of stuff onto my tablet and make sure it's 100% 100% charged, because I may be listening to stuff on my tablet. That's a really good idea. Anyway, I'll start doing that just as soon as the show's over. So, who am I? Do I have anything more to say about momentum? Abraham does her little analogy about how quickly momentum builds. If you want to start looking at the scene in front of you from a negative lens, the momentum on that will build really quickly, and you will have a very hard time getting away from it if you let it get away from you. You'll just have to let that spend itself until you get back to your agreeable self. You're back in alignment, and then try to stay there. Once you get out of alignment, there's a momentum of that misalignment that'll kind of carry you away a little bit. Her analogy is the hills in San Francisco, because you got cars on those hills. And, you take your car out of gear and push it just a little bit. And if you immediately step out in front of it and stop it, and let it bump up against you and stop it, it's not that hard. It doesn't hurt you. You can do it fairly easily. But if you let it get going even a bit, and it's running down the street, it's headed for the bay. You don't want to be down at the bottom of the hill trying to stop that vehicle. If you've started to run away with a negative momentum, you kind of have to let it spend itself. It's a little storm of chaos with a capital K. It is related to the Greek god, but I don't literally mean it it's a force. Chaos and coherence. Let's spell coherence with a K too, all right? Koherence and Kaos. Those are the two forces, and they are organizational forces. And the military combines both of them, actually. It's very interesting. It is not in alignment because of that. Anyway, who am I? Who am I? I realize that the things that I talk about seem a little disconnected to the physical reality that we actually experience on the ground. You know, I am an idealist, absolutely, but I'm also a realist. I am a realistic idealist, or an idealistic realist. One of the two. I'm not sure which one. I think an idealistic realist is probably the better one. Either one works. You're in balance if you got both sides, if you are aware of both sides. If you look at the chaos and the evil and the wickedness that you don't want, and you say, I see you and I know who you are. I know what causes you. You are caused by, I remember what I was saying. Idle hands are the devil's workshop, right? The reason you need to get a positive momentum going is if you do not, and you're sitting around with nothing much going on, then little storms of that chaotic energy blowing through your experience will have greater negative effect on you. They can suck you into their negative vortex if you are not already engaged in a positive thing of your own that you can hold to. Who am I? So interesting. You know, I think I'm just going to go a little over an hour. I think I'm going to wrap it up. I've had a good show. I haven't really talked too much about my wholeness of presentation, my notions that we are genetically modified and why I think so, and what that implies about extraterrestrials out there and their relationship to us. Also, I do believe that the secrecy of extraterrestrials has more to do with energy source and national security from that perspective than, worrying about panic in the streets, or, we got to keep this secret from, I don't know. The reason is that extraterrestrials demonstrate physics and energy sources and gravity control that we do not have, that we absolutely could have. Now, Nassim Haramein and all of his mathematicians over at the International Space Federation, isf.org maybe, I think it's something like that. They probably own isf.everything and can funnel you right over that direction, whatever it is. But I think that's what it is, isf.org. They have done the math that unifies the quantum world with the cosmological world. And do you know what it is that holds atoms together? What the force that holds atoms together? It's gravity. It is gravity. Gravity is the strongest force, and there are actually all of the forces are unified with this understanding of what the field is actually doing is it is spinning. And all of us are spinning together on the one hand, and then every single one of us individually is spinning separately. So we have our individual spin that I'm in control of, and then we have this whole spin where we are all spinning together. Now, the idea is to get one in alignment with the other so that you're flowing with the whole flow, with the reality of the field around you, with the desires of the field around you, with the ideas of the field around you, with the idea of achieving a win-win, 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 mutually beneficial position for all of us. Amen. You know, that's what we're really looking for. That's what we're looking for. And so I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about it some more. I had to get up a little earlier today because we got workmen coming and we got to get some things taken care of before the house is upheaved. Also, got to worry about the kid and her life choices and her choices of friends and how she relates to them and how she reacts to them too. Didn't mean to reveal anything about anybody for any reason. And, like I said, the one person maybe who should watch the show, I don't think I will ever ask this person to watch the show. So, until tomorrow, I need to start thinking about things that matter to me more than my little problems. What would be a wonderful win-win project so start small and try to organize a small thing to the benefit of everyone that is in the organizational group. What would we all like to do together? People do this all the time, and then they organize things like card playing groups or bunco playing. Bunco is a fun thing to do. You have this group of friends and you circulate, you meet at each other's houses once a month, and the hostesship moves from month to month to this person and the next person and the next person, and you bake snacks or whatever, and you decorate the house appropriate to the season, whatever time of year it is that the bunco happens. It's a fun way to structure organizational, social it's a fun way to organize a social life, to organize your friends to be with each other and play with each other and laugh with each other. So, and you do that to the mutual benefit of everyone in the group. Well, you can get bigger and bigger in your thinking as you recognize that I am one with the field around me. And it's not good enough that I succeed and everyone around me is in abject poverty. The reason that that's not acceptable is that the actual truth of the situation is I am not just myself. And I am not going to be happy if only one person in there is wealthy and it's me and everybody else around is, suffering. And that's out of alignment with what my true self knows to be true about the whole situation. It's that kind of thinking. Who am I? Who am I and who are we? And where are we going? And what is the point to this life? How do I work my own GPS guidance system to find my way to my bliss, my dreams come true, my happily ever after? And how do you follow your bliss? How do I follow my bliss? What the hell is my bliss? If you've gotten yourself stuck in a place where everything feels kind of flat and neutral, it's very hard to find where your bliss is. But I promise you that your bliss is somewhere in the area of a big win-win. Win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win. Because we know that if we're all winning all around us, then we are all being born and living our lives in the structure of an abundant, thriving eco habitat. And that's what we all want. And then we all want to be comfortable, and we all want to be playful, and our eyes want to be filled with life and green and water and sky and I don't know. Who am I? So I guess that'll be it for today. I'll come back tomorrow and do it again. I love you. I really do. You are part of me. I am a part of you at our deepest level. And we gotta deal with each other at all the other levels in between, don't we? Gotta figure it out. I'll do my best, you do your best, and we'll meet back here tomorrow. And until then,